wearing any MLB.
Yeah, I got one on because it was right next to me. I've done that before. So we are live here tonight on Big Scott 35. I got my brother from another mother here, Natsman 72. Nobody is on watching us right now, but hopefully people are starting popping in like they did last time. Anything going on in your world? We can just chit chat till.
Well, I bought that. I showed you one. I've been on Amazon tonight. Got my Amazon privileges back. I bought that cool PC stand.
Hey, Mike, how you doing?
So that's about it. It's raining here, so it's supposed to be up in the 70s. Yeah, it's supposed to be up in the 70s.
Oh, that's
what, Mike? Anything going your way? How's things going with the?
We're getting warmer. We're actually almost 40 degrees today, and snow's starting to melt, and it's typical getting ready to be March. So we probably got another snowstorm or two ready. so we got a couple of people filling in now. So welcome to Big Scott 35. I got a guest with me tonight. Hey, Colorado sports dude, what's happening? Glad you could make it. From the dirty South, old Nats man. Me and Nats were talking earlier this week, and I was at work all day today. I was following you today for my news for the MLB, and I guess you were saying they came close today to an agreement, or
well, then it backed out. One of the players that's on the 8-man rep that's in the meeting said, "Nah, that's a bunch of BS. There ain't no deal." They said Manfred's gone in there and just. I want to drop F-bombs so bad, but I ain't doing it. But
yeah,
he's jacked everything up.
Right. Well, I will blame. I think there's enough blame to go around for everybody, including us for it's going to be canceled. Well, they're going to be canceling games, that's for sure. Yeah. There's enough blame for everyone, including us, because we enable this by buying the product. I'm wearing a hat now and putting up with this. And of course, we haven't had a stoppage since 93. So, we've got kind of, used to this. All right, them playing, and we kind of need it more than ever. We came off of a good season, and how they, I started thinking more and more how it affects more than the players and us on a personal level. For us, it's entertainment.
Yeah, I mean, this has been going on for 2 years. A lot of people don't realize this. The year before last, they were going to strike, and they got the deal. They got the CBT done, and then COVID hit.
Right.
And they came to a last-minute agreement, putting it off, kicking the can, just like what you said we've done as fans, kicking the can.
Yeah, and it's a shame that point I would like to make tonight is there's people more than the players and the owners that are involved. You have the people that work at the ballpark. You have people that work around the ballpark. You have mom and pops, restaurants, all that around the ballpark. That this is the time of year where they make their change.
Doesn't Eric work for unnamed?
He won't say what he does or whatever. But and also I could tell you in 93, the first people they cut are front office people that work in there as just everyday office workers, the filers and also people that work in support of the team. They're the first ones to go. And not everybody gets hired back. If you've ever been laid off from a place, they figure out how to do it better with less and all that. So that's who I'm feeling for, and that's who, the guy that throws peanuts to people, and that's how they make their livelihood. And I don't see the players worried about them or the minor leaguers for that matter. That's my problem. We're going to buy the cards.
It was Zach Britton.
Oh yeah,
player rep.
Okay, he's still pitching with the Orioles.
So he's one of the ones he said denied the deal, and he's one of the 8 player reps that were in the meeting. And if
you're right, Colorado sports. That was going to be my next point.
Well, what's going to happen is that baseball is a fan sport.
Right.
It's you just put the last nail in the casket.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, we were in our early 20s when this happened before.
Right.
And I walked away from baseball, and I walked away from the hobby until 2012.
Yeah.
The baseball. So
yeah. For me, I did not walk. I don't know where my line is, right, in the sand. I wipe it away and then move it. I'm very frustrated right now. I love baseball. I've played it all my life, been part of it, coached it, all that stuff. Hey, JD, yeah.
Bobbles was there too. It was
yeah, Bobbles. If you build it, they will come. That actually, yeah. It worked here in Iowa for a movie, and then they played games. But the players, I just don't know. I was talking to my dad, and of course, the owners. We all work for an owner. Well, unless you are an owner, but they're the owners. They're supposed to be greedy. That's why they're the owner, right? They didn't get there by giving away their money, so of course they're going to be tight with it. That's why they're the owner. The players, on the other hand, they work for them, and I heard somebody say, they make the less out of the lowest rookie make the least amount out of the big 4 sports, and they play the most amount of games. I don't know. I don't know the contracts as well in the other sports, but baseball is guaranteed money. And they have a great retirement plan, a great, health care afterwards. I don't know about the other sports, and goodness gracious, in football, geez, if they don't have health care for those guys, or hockey, even basketball, all of those are more violent than baseball. The baseball has the strongest union.
Well,
go ahead.
They said that the players came back yesterday. The players union came back yesterday and reduced their asking for the salary cap stuff, and they and that's an addictive little thing to watch too. But they came back and want the owners. When Manfred was there today, they said that the owners came back and actually went back what was the last 3 contracts amounts.
Right.
And for the rookies, they said, well, we'll give you rookie of the year and your top 4 rookies that play. So all these other guys aren't getting one.
Well,
that reduced amount is still a lot of money. Like you said, it's still a lot of money.
I mean, for somebody that works the way I do to get,
I mean, I wouldn't know what to do if I got a signing bonus like that to go to work somewhere in my first year, basically.
Well, these guys, they make a lot of money, and they work hard to get there. I'm not taking anything away from them, but I've made this analogy before. If it went away tomorrow, we wouldn't be worse for it, right? There is Manfred. Those guys at Manfred makes more than the whole league put together.
Manfred's hired by the owners, y'all.
Right.
He's not there.
He's there for the He's not there for the players. if baseball goes away, we're no worse off than we are today as a society.
Yeah, and everybody knows we're just venting as fans and
Right.
hobbyists.
Right.
There is way more important stuff going on in the world today that we're
Yeah.
all aware of.
Right.
That this is nothing.
Right.
So
And that's what I've been saying all day today. I want to rant and I want to have fun with it.
yeah,
We need
I
a
did
break
salty
from
deep.
life, right? We need a break from. If this is our reality that we have for this hour, I'm happy with that, right? So, and I'm gonna get to where this is gonna. I'm a hobby guy, so this is where we're gonna get the rubber to the road here in a little bit, but we gotta get there. Hi, Mr. Fresh Bike. Welcome. Glad to see. Oh, we got 357 here.
Oh man, 357's in here.
Yeah, we got good crew tonight. Good crew. So as a fan of the game, I feel like I will be hurt if they don't play or whatever. But as society, it wouldn't bother us. But I can tell you, if I do what I do and we stop doing it tomorrow, people wouldn't be getting medications and stuff like that they need. Right? If you didn't do what you did, people wouldn't get help when in a car accident or their house got devastated by a tornado. Those jobs matter. And I'm not saying theirs don't. It's an entertainment. We need it. During COVID, we needed it. And they were going to squabble to every last dime for that instead of just getting out there and playing. These guys are playing a sport, a game for children and getting paid. The least amount is what, 600,000 or whatever. I want them to get out there and yeah, I get hurt. Bobbles.
Yeah, bobbles, but we're not far from that.
I got my Nats hat on tonight. Anyway, they so it I don't get it. The players to me, if you want a bigger paycheck, be better.
Well, right? I don't understand.
Did Tatis get a bigger paycheck before his rookie contract? Did Wander Franco get a bigger contract? Acuna, Albies, all these guys, the top guys, Juan Soto will be getting paid. He could have got paid this year, but he decided he don't want that one, so he will get paid. Yeah, baseball is a game period. I love it, but it's not put them on a pedestal, right? Yeah, when you're kids, they're our heroes, but they shouldn't be our heroes as an adult. They actually shouldn't be our heroes as a child, but at a certain, they are.
I don't understand.
That's why you have the one quote in every dugout, or not dugout, every walkway that they walk out there is play like they have never seen you play before, right? They're supposed to be, leaders, and I don't see what they're leading right now. Players were, like I said, there's enough to go around, and I would
what would be funny is to see Mad Max in that meeting. He's one of the guys for the players. I mean, Jesus, he don't want you congratulating him on a good game. What's he going to do if you try to high five him? Hey man, we got something out of the deal. He punches you in the throat.
Well, they got some stuff out of the deal this week, and I mean, I understand. Yes, I agree that it's not right that they hold a player down till after April and they don't get a year of service time. I agree 100%. It should be probably all-star break, whatever. Or how many plate appearances like a rookie, or how many games they're in uniform on the roster, something. But that is a ridiculous rule, and I agree with the players on that. But the pay, the money, there should be more money for the minor leaguers who make $25,000 and a peanut butter sandwich after the game. That's who should be getting it.
And there's a lot of folks don't understand and this is something we had talked about a couple of weeks ago, is these minor league teams are not owned by the major league guys. It's a contract to be associated with
They
that
just supply the
organization.
players.
Yeah, they just supply players. I mean, these are
well, and they get paid from that team that they play for.
yeah, but the big budget stuff is from
right, and those
not
guys.
the MLB.
Yeah,
So,
once those draft picks, that first 10 picks after that, the money drops drastically. And also, it's a difference between a minor league contract and a major league contract. If baseball comes back, how do the Mets look? Well, they wore their black uniforms again last year. So, but I guess you're not talking about that. They got to make some more moves. They need. I guess they were talking about Freddie Freeman, which would have been okay because they got the DH. So Pete Alonso would probably DH a lot. Freddie Freeman's a better first baseman than him because they're talking about trading Dominic Smith. And actually, I think Dominic Smith with the DH would probably play more first base if he stays with the Mets this year.
Isn't that one of the things they agreed on was universal DH? Mm-hmm. That's been agreed on, right?
Yeah. So that's a big thing for everybody. Nobody wants to see the pitcher strike out. The Mets, when DeGrom pitches, he should be hitting. And when he's not pitching, he probably should be the DH. But, the Mets, they probably need one more pitcher. Their bullpen's pretty stacked. They have a young catcher in the minors coming up. They got a young second baseman coming up.
Were they keeping Ramos, or did they release Ramos?
Yeah, he's gone. He's been gone for a year now. So they keep they'll be all right. They just got to get a new approach at the bat. Last year it was said. I'm sorry, you got me started with the Mets. Well, their hitters did not like all the analytics. They were just bombarded with analytics last year. So that's why they went with an older coach with a mixture. Then they went and got the existing hitting coach from the Yankees, who's a young guy too. So, they should be all right. Thanks for the question, Mike. Let's get on. Now with me and Bobbles talked about this last week a little bit. With this going on, now they're starting about talking. Tomorrow is the deadline when every day is a game they're going to cut from and they're not going to make it up. They're going to lose the money from it.
But it's a win for the owners. Think about it this way, and I mentioned this in the group text though. If the owners really don't want to pay them,
right?
All right, so they're willing to cut. They've got their coffers stashed away.
Yeah.
But it's like they do it for negotiation reasons. The reason I say that, they hold out no games. Right. Then they're using that as a negotiation tool. So over the period, because they spread everything out anyway, like 3 or 4 years. So 3 or 4 years, they make a deal on that whole CBT deal.
Mm-hmm.
They're making their money back. Then they're in it for the long haul. The ones that are getting crapped on is the players on that deal, because every year, every season or every game, that's cutting into their playing time.
Right.
And, what they can use as negotiation for their contracts.
Well, we're not going to lose the season. We're going to lose a week, maybe, I think. Because the owners are not going to change their mind, because then they'll lose in the next negotiation. They couldn't use the same thing. So I think they're going to lose a little bit. I'm not going to post this by Bobbles because he wrote a nice little paragraph over here. But I agree and disagree a little bit with that. Actors have stuntmen, I don't know if you can see this or not, Nats man, but
yeah, I can see it.
Yeah. So, believe it or not, I played baseball at a pretty good, level. As I got older, my love, I started getting into other things, and I agree with that. But that's no different than a doctor that does 8 years, or a lawyer, or actually my training for what I did was a 10-year training plan. Um, you could say that about a lot of different jobs. You just don't walk
Actors go
in
to
on the
school
street.
too.
Right. And here, and I've been using this, and yeah,
He makes a
actors,
good point though.
it
I mean,
makes a great point, but I think anything that's in an entertainment field, it has a business to it. Of course, there's money to be made, but our entertainment dollars, since the last, there's so much out here now, as a person, as a family. And then you got baseball, which is in the warmest months of the year, where people tend to be more outside, and longer days and stuff like that. You have to think about that, where people are going to spend that entertainment money. During COVID, people learned how to do without sports. It showed that first year back,
and
especially with basketball.
baseball does not make money like they did 10 or 20 years ago with fans attending games.
Yeah, the
I
game
mean,
money, the gate money pays the people that work for the company, like for them. Um,
and that's
TV
part of the
revenue.
negotiations why they're wanting half the MLB almost to be in the playoffs.
Right. So the TV contracts and all of that. Not saying that parking and all that doesn't contribute to that, but most of that goes to the staff. But
Mm-hmm.
now, I'm not talking about this because I know this. I've talked to people that in the past that worked in front offices at different levels. I went to school with a guy that did. Uh, I've known managers that were in the 93 that actually came to my school and helped people hit. I was still dabbling with college ball at that time and trying to get back in, and he helped me tremendously. A man by the name of Johnny Oates, great guy, passed away way too early. Um, so, I'm not saying I have any authority on this, but just from talking to people and asking questions and just listening, uh, you know, I I just I don't know what's why. And I mean, I know why they want the most, and I don't blame the players for trying to get the most. They do
Mm-hmm.
work hard. They sacrifice a lot in their lives to be at the level they're at. Um,
And the owners have too. They built a business. They've built a business to be able to buy MLB teams,
right.
buy
Yes.
into it. I mean, that's a lot of hard
Yes.
work too, unless you got money the old fashioned way. But not to take any. But like you said, there's enough blame to go around. It's like
Yeah.
It's like both sides were giving in until the commissioner walked in there
Right.
and pissed everybody off.
Hey, we know that Manfred's an asshole, and you have to be somewhat of an asshole to do the job he does, right? You have to sit there and pacify a bunch of billionaires who's gotten their way their whole lives, right?
Yeah.
And then you got to turn around and try to please players because somebody threw high and tight or a video surfaced or something, and you gotta, not everything is equal, and he's got to do a lot of crappy stuff. And I it's a thankless job. And hi, Mari, how you doing, buddy? Whoops, hit the wrong button altogether. I'll get back to what I was supposed to be doing. I'm all hell on day at work. And I've been looking forward to this all day. If y'all didn't see my video today. So I just think, I don't know how many jobs everybody else has had, right? I probably have had at least 10 since I was 16, 17, if not 12, 15. So these ball players think they only should have one. Being a ball player, then retire at the age of 30 and don't have to work again. And I just don't, not everybody, even if you play 4 years, you know, it doesn't work out for everybody. It's just the way it is.
There's a guy I follow. He played. It's Matt Antonelli. I'm butchering his name, but he played at Wake Forest.
Yeah, that name
He's from
sounds familiar,
Massachusetts,
actually.
but he's got a YouTube channel.
Okay.
And he played for San Diego like when they really, really, really sucked. And he talks about. I would recommend his channel just to listen from his perspective because he's like, I got hurt and I suck. I mean, he'd been let go. He played minor ball, and where he's at today. So it's like you said, you know, he's like, hey, I lived and breathed baseball, and then it was one day, hey, do you want to go ahead and go home since we're near your house, or you want to finish the week out because we're going to release you either way.
You know, I think I've heard his story before, actually. So that name sounds familiar. Colorado sports dudes should be 50-50 split on profit. It depends on how you define that profit and where that profit came from. I'm kind of, you know, it depends on what you're talking. Now, if you sell the jersey or likeness or their name or their number, sure, I am all for that. If anything like that out of, you know, it just depends on what you're talking about. 50-50, maybe not, but you know, should they get paid well? I 100% think they should. And I would not be mad if tomorrow they go, oh, the rookies make 750,000 or 800,000 dollars a year. I wouldn't be mad at that. I'm not mad at the players want more. It just should be done in a different manner. And way people have to work, they're going to piss people off and lose eyes on the games. Baseball's, and I think hockey as well, is a very regional sport. Like it's in your area. I think most of us watched it first on your local channel, or TBS or WGN, but then cable came along and it was on your local channel, right? So most of us, you know, I'm a huge Cal Ripken fan. Guess what? I'm a child of the 80s. I mean, I lived in Virginia. I saw my first cable WDCA out of Baltimore, Maryland, showed Baltimore games. They didn't show them all, but that's what I got to see. So I
See,
love.
that's the deal in Charlotte where I grew up, was that we had the Charlotte O's, and so Cal came through when they came through and played Charlotte. Well, the TV, when cable happened, what games did they play? The Baltimore Orioles.
Right. Yeah. And then, you know, when TBS came along, the Superstation, we had the Richmond Braves, the AAA team. So I saw Avery, Schmaltz, Glavin, Chipper Jones. You know, I got to see when Richmond played Atlanta, and I got to see Terry Pendleton and, you know, all these guys that, you know, that just, Blue Rock, what's up, my man? You know, so my dad was a huge Braves fan, and then they took him off of TBS, and I think they put him on Turner South or South something.
Turner South, yeah.
Yeah, and he couldn't watch them. And the Nationals came to town, and the Nationals, they either do they own that channel, Bobbles, or part ownership of that channel up there?
I think the owner of the Baltimore Orioles owns Comcast.
Oh, okay. I knew it was one or the other, but my dad, me and him love National League baseball, and he loves the Nationals. And me and him went to games, so that's why I root for the Nationals somewhat, but I'm a Mets fan at heart.
It's got to be hard in the same division.
It is, but we went to so many Nationals, and when Harper was there, I got into the Harper hype, and we would sit in the outfield. So I love Jason Worth. You know, I would get our tickets out there so we can see those guys. And
Michael Morse had the best walk-up music.
And we also, man, in the game when the year that them and the Braves were good, and they did the man that series in Washington was nuts in the crowd. There were fights in the crowd that night. I was like, what? Last time I went to the Nationals in Baltimore game, it was just kind of like almost like a golf. Like everybody's like, man, it was wild. And I saw Marquez hit one of the hardest home runs I've ever seen in my life. I thought it went through the facade there between the two. My God, he hit a rocket.
Me and some buddies from the police department, there was three of us were National fans, and the fourth was a Brave. So we went down to Atlanta and watched the two of the 3 game series. And Mike Franklin, bless his heart, he went to go catch when we were sitting in right field at the wall, and had a home run popped out at him, and he dropped it, and it was on the Nationals channel, because I had the red shirt with the big W on it up front, and it's like can of corn, baby, can of corn.
Right. Yep. I posted this because this is a great thing. I'm a Braves fan, but collect Piazza. I can tell you now, right? I don't like the Braves, right? I grew up watching Richmond. But, when I was a little kid, I thought Richmond and Atlanta was the same team. You know how you are as a little kid. You don't really can't separate the two. But when I saw Gary Carter in what was the year that they were going to go to the World Series and then they finished the season, 81, 82, with the Expos, I fell in love with the Expos and Gary Carter. But Piazza, I collect Piazza as a Met. But I collect Chipper Jones cards. I love Chipper Jones. I hate the Yankees, but I love Donnie baseball. The first game I went to ever live as a young boy was Orioles in Old Memorial Stadium against the Yankees, and the Yankees had Mattingly, Boggs, Winfield. Winfield is huge, man. That's a big man. I love Don. I'm with you on that. I'm sure everybody has a player somewhere else or a nemesis or whatever. I mean, I collect some Freddie Freeman. How do you not like Freddie Freeman? I mean, just one of those guys. I'm trying to think like Jeter. I was a Jeter guy. How do you not like a guy that goes full bore into the first row to catch a fly ball?
I collect Will Smith with the Dodgers.
Yeah.
I like him as a player. I can't stand the Dodgers, but
right. I'm trying to think. I can't stand the Dodgers either. That was my sister's team as we were growing up. I'm trying to think if there is a Dodger, because I'll collect Piazza. I like his rookie cards with the Dodgers, but I won't get. I go out of my way to get the Mets stuff for him. But I just thought that was a great thing there. And
let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
93, they had they did the season.
Yeah.
It's over. They came back and they used scabs the following season.
Yeah.
And then they had the home run contest. Canseco and Sosa saved baseball at that point.
You mean Mark McGwire and Sosa?
Oh yeah, Mark McGwire. Sorry.
Yeah, that's
and then they saved baseball.
Right.
Let's just say worst case scenario, and y'all that are in the chat, reply to this. If they did the season, if they had the season close out, what will save baseball? And will the hobby survive? Because Top said back then it took 5 years for them to start making a profit again on baseball.
The only thing that I think, because me and Bobbles touched on this last week, and he actually made a good point today.
Just bun it.
Huh?
I was reading. Just bun it. Sorry.
Yeah, just bun it. He made a good point today in our group chat. Was, we have Bowman first cards. They're still going to be draft. They're still going to be playing minors. I think Heritage Minor League Baseball is going to have if they have this problem that goes through the season, you're going to see some of the pro debut, some minor league stuff probably get a little bump, but I think the major league stuff is going to take a hurt, especially the high dollar stuff. I mean, the big boy boxes might come. You might see a drop in that. Series 2, it depends on how long it's going to be a holdout. I just think that it's going to kill the flipping game. I think, which has already taken a hit because of PSA being PSA, but the buying the boxes off the shelves and reselling them is already taking a big hit for baseball. For if this happens, because the casual fan is not going to put up with this. Mm-hmm. The fan that came back 2 years ago and got back into it and decided, cards is big and I'm going to get into cards to go along with it, hand in hand, they're not going to put up with this. And there's going to be a lot of people that, because of the world we're in now, are not going to put up with this. And, it's going to be a lot of different reasons why. Yeah. Vintage.
Well, I think
we brought that up last week. That's a great.
That's a gimme, though. I mean, that's. I'm not slamming I'm not slamming vintage, but that seems like that's always the go-to.
Right.
Vintage is around. Vintage is always here.
Right. I'm looking at more and more vintage now.
Really?
I mean, and I think it's because of my age. I've always said it. I wasn't a vintage guy. Well, guess what? I'm 50 years old, so my time frame is vintage. 80s now.
What's your vintage?
Yeah, I get 70s cards. Almost everybody says now 70s is vintage. And it depends who you talk to if 80s is vintage or not. So, I don't know. I guess I'm a vintage guy. I don't know. I think early 80s you could probably put into that, but I think the later 80s you wouldn't. Mike Fish says he's got some vintage that went up crazy. Yeah, I kind of had to stop on take a break on picking up some of my Clementes because they actually almost tripled in price overnight.
And with James saying you're a young pup, then, sir, your vintage, you got every right. So,
yes. Hey, James, thank you. I don't feel old, but you wake up one day and then all of a sudden your time frame is it's called classic rock and vintage. It's like, what? I was just listening to my parents' vintage rock, classic rock. What? What now? I mean, come on, geez. Big collector since the 60s. There you go, James. Love it. Love that. Hey, James, are you going to National? Is he going to the National? If a strike happens, baseball would have to take off the reins of being conservative with player marketing.
Yes, they should have been doing this. Trevor Bauer called them out on this, pissed the commissioner off. We all know, if we're paying attention, who Mike Trout might be if we ran into him in a grocery store. But your everyday common, even baseball fan, isn't going to recognize Mike Trout.
Then James, you're going to be with me too. I like it. All right. I'd be a nice fellow to meet there. You're going to be with me, with all of us. Yeah, well, I think they've already relaxed it a little bit. People are wondering about the shoe cards this year, right? I was hunting for finally got the Pete Alonso one. I didn't know they had color variants of it, but that's part of it. They let them wear shoes that won't team colors and showing a little personality. Different socks. You didn't all have to wear the same socks. You know, they let them have players weekend. They let them do different things. The walk up music they started, you know, ways back, which, you know, all ballparks did a generic style, but when the players started picking their own, even brought more personality. And then you got these young butts like Bryce Harper started doing it, and then everybody he was getting thrown at, everything else because of it. And then now you got Tatis and Acuna and Albies and all these younger guys, especially more and more Latin players that are showing their love for life as long with baseball. Yeah, they're not gonna be able to hold it back. And I'm sorry, if you go to a baseball game, you see a lot of young people in the stands. I just think baseball's missing an easy connection because they don't wear a mask. They're not running up and down a court. They're stationary a lot, so they're easy to see. You see them, you know who they are. They're, you know, in the early 80s, you saw they put them everywhere. They were on cereal boxes, pizza boxes, drink bottles, signs in your towns, your local dealerships. You just don't see any of that anymore. And I know it's some of it is because the players want a lot of money. You know, they do need to get those players. I actually, you know, Johnny Bench had the baseball bunch when I was a kid. I hope there's somebody else out there that remembers this, but I watched it religiously. And he always had Ozzie Smith was on there every week. And for some reason, Tommy Lasorda was called the Oz or Wizard or the Wiz or the whatever. It didn't make sense because Ozzie Smith was the Wizard of Oz, and they had Tommy Lasorda as the Wizard. And then they always had the San Diego Chicken was on the thing, and they always had a guest player. And it was that's the first time I saw Gary Carter was on that show and realized there was teams that won't play in All in America, and they were in Canada and that whole thing. But anyway, they were out there. They had home run derby contest on Saturday mornings that they filmed like the first week of spring training or whatever. That started in the 50s and they started redoing it in the 80s. And they just did different things. And you got a whole network, MLB network, and they don't even have the players on there. They have retired players. But come on, like in the off season.
It was very few times, and it seemed like it was on the MLB channel that they would actually have a player that they would bring on and do.
Right.
I remember the one where they had Soto and Victor Robles on there, and they were on there for like 45 minutes. It was great as a fan, you know, but you don't see them doing that you don't see them doing commercials anymore. You know, how many Reggie Jackson commercials can you think of off the top of your head that you like?
I remember they made a candy bar for him.
Pete Rose.
Pete Rose. I mean, I've been grading. I mean, okay, it's still Tops, okay, I grant you, but they own a confectionery company. In 1979, they still make the bubble gum Bazooka Joe. Mm-hmm. To this day, it's in ballparks by the buckets. I have the comics that they used to wrap around them in 1979. I got the complete set. And it's got a little thing about the player and then a little rule or something, a little factoid about the sport. And just little things like that, man. Like, it's just put a little effort into it.
Amari makes a very good point on this. And Trevor Bauer, you know, I go back to Trevor Bauer. Trevor Bauer branded his own and got fined for wearing his shirt under his uni.
Right.
And then, you know, he was a smart ass and put the sign on, I'm not getting fined. This isn't this is my
Right.
shirt or something. So, I mean, the MLB's got to give these players room to do that. But yeah, I think they should. I think it's only going to help the sport.
Man, in 5 years, everyone will still know Mike Trout. Do you think this is a period that has? I'm sorry, my camera is right in front of where I posted, so I got to kind of look around it. That has most talent ever in MLB history. Wonder who will be the best player of the 2020-2030 period.
No, Wander won't.
I don't think Tatis will either.
No.
I think it's going to be Soto.
Yep.
And if it's not him, it's going to be Acuna or Vladdy, because Vladdy's learned how to put the work in. I don't think he wants to go backwards. I think he liked being where he was at. What is your position on Bauer? Is that a good phrasing? Is that a good phrasing for what he got in trouble for? Or what is your? Is that an actual position with Bauer? What's your safe word with Bauer?
He should be allowed to play. He's been cleared.
Yeah.
There's no reason to hold him back. And if I was him, they wouldn't let me play. I'd sue them all.
Yeah, I mean, look, somebody's going to pick him up because he can still pitch. If you can win ball games, you're going to play somewhere
without the sticky stuff, right?
The
tacky.
We'll see. There's supposedly new stuff out there already.
Yeah.
I meant wonder. Okay, like wondering. Well, who? Oh, okay, I got you. I'll put that up so we can clear it up for everybody. Yeah. And who knows? There is still a lot of talent in the pipeline as well. Last year, quote unquote, a down year because but I still think that's a class that 10 years from now, a lot of them are still going to be in the league and a lot of them are going to be productive players, which, that's all you can ask for.
Mike Trout didn't come out of the gates.
His first year was stumbling, and but
didn't he get sent down for a little bit? Seems like he got sent down for a little bit.
He might have.
May be an injury. I don't know.
I can't remember. I know Harper was forced up because of injuries. They brought him a year in early because they didn't have anybody else. The same way with Soto. Soto wasn't even one of their top prospects when they brought him up, was he? I don't think he was. He just
Victor
came.
Was.
Yeah, they brought him up because they needed somebody to play, and
it
was not getting him back. And that's what it's about. It's not about luck. It's about being prepared when you're tapped on the shoulder to step up, and that's the guys. And I think Tatis, if Tatis can learn how to play the outfield, he'll be okay because
he's horrible infield.
Yeah, and not only that, I think it's hard on his shoulder. The angles when you come up to throw, the angles that it puts your shoulder in, because he didn't get surgery, which surprised me, and I think that's going to be an ongoing. Maybe Ohtani, or I think Vlad or Acuna could crush their ways through the next 10 years. Will be interesting.
I think Ohtani. He either needs to pitch or he needs to hit because he's injured. He's getting injured too much. I mean, look at how the season started out in 2020. I mean, I
think he should have played outfield and hit, and they didn't want to put him out there because they didn't want him to get tired because they want him to pitch. And he's one of their better pitchers. Well, shame on the Angels if he's one of your better pitchers to start with. And I think he would have been a no doubter, starting outfield and then DH later, probably Hall of Famer. But if they're going to split him both ways, he's already had arm problems and everything else. So,
is Tatis the new Howard Johnson?
Hojo? What do you mean?
Remember that conversation on that video the
Yeah,
other week with how bad Tatis was at fielding, and they said, Howard wasn't that great of a
but he could hit.
fielder, but he could hit.
Yeah, and hitting makes up a lot of mistakes in the field. So yeah, Otani seems exhausted by All-Star break, barely made it through the home run derby. Yeah, and I mean, you got to understand too, pitching in the majors is a lot of mental. It's not just your body, it's getting your mind right for that day you pitch. It's I mean, this is a different, I was lucky enough to work with a guy that played at Penn State, won a national championship at Penn State, and then went on to play NFL. Got drafted by the Browns, and great guy. And I asked him, he didn't get the start or anything. I go, what was the difference between you and the guy that started? And he just said that much. That's it. Well, in baseball, the difference between AAA and MLB is a leap and bounds. It's a lot of difference. It's the ball moves, the pitchers are just way faster, the players are faster, the bats they just make more contact. So those pitchers, it's such a mental aspect to stay sharp a whole season. That's exhausting in itself, Tatis is a good fielder. He just makes terrible throws. Yeah,
that's part of fielding.
Yeah,
you can catch the ball all day long if you can't get it to the base. Then
ask Steve Sachs about that. Anybody remember Steve Sachs? He kind of was the starter of the where you had to have a sports psychologist. First time I ever heard that. And then some tennis players did. Tatis might be the next Garcia Parra. Yeah. Now, I think Tatis is going to be bigger in a national sense than Garcia Parra. Garcia Parra is a legend in Boston. I think Tatis has got a following across the country that Garcia Parra didn't have. What is Otani? Otani didn't expect Soto to even be able to challenge him. The home run derby, he was the clear favorite, and Soto sent him packing. Yeah, Soto's a beast. The home run derby was in Colorado. They might as well put helium in the balls. Yips. Yep, the old yips. The Braves had a pitcher too. What was it? What was his name? And then I know old Aintkill that went to the outfield for the Cardinals. He had the yips as a pitcher. Trey Turner is greater than Tatis. Trey Turner is the most overlooked shortstop. If you go around the league, I guarantee you ask all the owners or general managers who would they rather have as shortstop in the league right now, and I bet you, and you listed the big ones. I bet you Trey Turner would be named a lot because he can.
Wolfpack, baby.
Yeah, but not only what he can do in the field, right? Nobody talks about his leadership, and then also just what he does on the base pass. He is just, you want to talk about taking a picture out of her mental game. That's what he does. Mark Wohlers, thank you so much.
That's a good one.
Yeah, there you go. He did have, that's who I saw him pitch in Richmond. There you go. He was a big man too. Yeah, Trey Turner is a beast. Yes.
He's a smooth criminal on that slide.
Ooh. Well, he's
quick.
Is he the fastest from first to second in the league right now?
I have to look it up. He's got to be in the top.
He's got a little power with a bat too. Yeah. Chuck Neibach had the same issue. Yeah. Not 40 plus, but still enough to make him dangerous. Yeah. Yeah, I think Turner, with the Dodgers, what is he? Is he going to play shortstop this year with them? Because when they got him, they were talking about putting him in center field and all this. I was like, my God, you know. But
Well,
anyway,
if Gat was it, what Lux would go to second?
yeah. Well, Lux played outfield last year in the playoffs, center field. He was kind of a disaster out there, but
with
John
Seager
Lester.
gone.
This is a problem with a lot of pitchers, James, is that throw to first base. They just, because they try to not throw it over there like a pitch, they just need to throw it. Seager's gone. Yes, he is, Bobbles. Texas Rangers.
Nobody
Yeah.
believed me about Texas either.
What's that? Him going to Texas? Oh, I knew it was talked about. And Texas is
That's
trying
where
to.
he wanted the Yankees first.
Who, Seager?
And Yankees, they're like, but he wanted to go to Texas since he played. What was it? Was it All Star? Was it All Star game?
Well,
It
the
was there, but
playoff.
he fell in love with playing down there.
The new stadium.
And
well,
they
played. They played the playoffs.
Where they live.
What's that?
And it's closer to where they live at now. So,
is it? Well,
they live in Nashville, and it's common knowledge they live in Nashville, Tennessee. So that was closer, this side of the country with his family and her family, and
right. Yeah, see, James said a playoff. As a right to pick to third is always tough. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, they so let's go back around the horn. Okay. We're gonna get back to where we were. So lockout and how the hobby is gonna go. I'm making a prediction. There's gonna be one more week of having issues. I think the players want to test that the owners are going to actually not have games, and in actuality, the owners are kind of looking out for their players as well because they want to have 4 weeks of preseason.
How many games do you think they're going to cancel then?
They're saying now it's one a day, one every day. Those games are canceled. So tomorrow it'll be opening at first opening day. You know, they have 2 opening days. So
I like what you're saying on that. I think the only thing that people need to watch is what you brought up earlier was the front office staff.
They start laying them off.
If they get laid off, they're done. They're not going to play at all.
Because I remember in '93 that happened pretty quick. And that was like, oh snap! This is going to be a long haul.
That's going to be the kicker right there.
And I think the hobby is going to be fine when it comes to baseball. Let's call it's baseball we're talking about, not overall hobby at all. Hobby's not dead. Baseball will not. People are going to buy baseball cards. I think people will go more to. Not necessarily vintage, but maybe going back and getting cards they missed in the last few years. Because
even modern stuff that, like you said, the price come down.
Right. And
makes
just
stuff affordable.
Right. And I that's not going to be necessarily a bad thing. I mean, I feel sorry for people that put money into it, but that's the way things work. I mean, if you invest in things, they don't always go up, right?
And if you're selling stuff, you can also think of it this way too. You may not be getting the higher prices, but you may be selling in higher volume.
Right, that too. And I mean, I'm not much. I'm not much of a seller. You and Bobbles and JD. You're the guys I go to when I have a question. JT and Mike. I'm a very novice at that part of it. I know the purchasing side, but sometimes I get kind of lost. I just want to get rid of stuff.
Yeah, that's me. I mean,
yeah, I just want to.
I don't list on eBay anymore any of my stuff. So unless it's Star Wars or NASCAR.
Right. Yeah. I love my Star. I got all kinds of stuff around me for Star Wars, packing up stuff. Yeah. So, I think we're going to be all right. I just, after the fun season, the way the season ended, the fun of the playoffs, how great the playoffs were, a great World Series, Atlanta, winning it, and just how the season went to follow up with this is a shame. It's just a shame. And we'll have minor league ball. You have your local teams. We still have baseball. I'm hoping ESPN will show minor league games or something.
We got Korean baseball.
Korean baseball, baseball with your breakfast. And so we have other outlets. If you're a baseball fan, it might even open our eyes to a bigger world of baseball. I've gone a little over an hour. I like to keep this around an hour. So we are lucky as a fandom to be able to talk about nonsense as a lockout. And we are lucky that this is our biggest problem we have here at home right now as a group of baseball fans. I just want to leave us at this, let's be nice to each other. Let's love one another. I love all you guys out there in this community. I've said it before, this community has helped me get through some very dark times in my life. And watching TV and all that just adds to that darkness right now. And that's why I'm a little upset that one of my lights is baseball. And I feel like it's being taken away from me. And I don't want that to happen. So to everyone out there, I don't want to leave us on a downer. Be good to each other, uplifting to each other. On the socials, let's don't crack on each other. Let's make sure somebody shows something is excited. Let's be excited along with them. Let's support one another and think of the ones that tonight baseball is the last thing on their minds. They just want to wake up tomorrow and live their lives.
Amen.
So until next time, just be good to each other and we'll see you. Bye.